This is Barnstable Today for Tuesday, April 14th. Welcome aboard. I'm Mark Mumford. And please keep in mind that the meetings we cover are available on demand at the town's website, town.barnstable.ma.us.
The Hilton Garden Inn project resurfaces in front of the planning board. That's our focus today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kevin Friel.
The proposed 132-room, 5-story hotel planned for Route 28 near the airport continues to generate plenty of conversation.
Last evening's public hearing in Town Hall opened with a staff report on parking and traffic prepared by Steve Seymour.
Traffic circulation in the parking lot. You can look at sheet number 6, and I'm concerned that this is at the back of the building on the westerly side rear corner, and there's 2 dumpsters proposed to be there, and then a loading zone, presumably, I guess, to bring service area stuff into the building. I took a 30-foot long, trash removal truck, and that's the left one, and then the right one is the would be a 30-foot panel truck, a fairly small truck, and both of those would block to some degree the access. Matter of fact, the trash removal truck would essentially block off that exit going around the rear of the building. In a lot of cases with hotels, when you go out, you'll see that they tend to want to put those things someplace on the site where they're kind of out of the way so they don't disrupt the flow of the traffic on the site. And one thing with this particular site, with the amount of vehicles that we're trying to park in the close proximity to the smallness of the site for the amount we're trying to put on it, it creates these problems, and this is one of them. The other thing that happens with the site is that the one-way roadway that's it's not a roadway, the one-way in front of the building, it's only one-way movement. You know, you're coming in off at 28, taking a left and going across the front of the building. If you pull in there and you don't see a parking space, you then have to leave the site. And probably, if you would know, you would take a right and then go down and go back onto the site. If not, you try to get out on 28 and come back in again if you're unfamiliar with it. But that creates a it's like this site is utilizing the public roads for internal movement within the parking area. And that's really not a very good practice. And just wanted to point that out. That's another thing that kind of indicates the smallness of the site for what we're trying to accomplish here.
Developer Stu Bornstein, who also built the Radisson on Route 28, just down from the proposed Hilton Garden Inn site, responded to Steve Seymour's findings.
I'm Stuart Bornstein. I have with us Randy Hott, who's a traffic engineer. Now, we just received Mr. Seymour's write-up tonight, just as we walked in. We're not allowed to talk to him. We have to go through the growth committee before we have to communicate with him. So a lot of these things that he's mentioned, they can be fixed and cured with very minor adjustments. And when people pull into the hotel and they can't find a place to park, there's always 8 to 12 spaces for check-in, always a place to park in there. We don't plan to have our clients take their cars. We will valet them and drive them over to the Radisson parking lot. We still contend that we, at any time during the night and during the day, 99% of the time, there's an excess of 150 parking spaces there. Very, very seldom is that parking lot ever filled up. Maybe twice a year during the day we may have some large function there, but we don't have a demand for parking during the day at the Hilton. Today's people, when they travel, there's usually more people taking 2 rooms from a car than the other way around, and that's the way we work. They go with another couple, they have their kids, and I just wanted to also indicate that everything in this hotel is non-combustible. Originally, we did look to put some hand-split shingles in the front, but we'll make those at a greater expense, made out of cement. They look the same. They have the same feel on it, and everything in that building is non-combustible. And we do this because we certainly don't want to have any problems ourselves. We got to live with what we do, and safety of people that are our clients is a big priority. I'd like to give you Mr. Randy Hart. He might have a few things to say, and maybe afterwards Dan.
At 55 feet, the proposed height for the Hilton Garden Inn is also an issue. Dan Ojala of Down Cape Engineering, who is part of Bornstein's team on this project, tried to put the height into context.
Mr. Bornstein did have me take a look at some other buildings. You know, we haven't talked much about it, but obviously we are looking for a little relief on the height here, and the massing of the structure was discussed at some earlier ones. So I looked at some of the existing buildings around here, and the hospital obviously jumps out as I was the engineer on that one, and I think Randy even did some work with me on it. But that's 84 feet up at the highest roof plane. We're proposing 55 on our site, so obviously the hospital's a good bit higher. There are some architectural features, a big plane that's at 100 feet up above the road on that one. This building that we're in here is actually, the ridge is 71 feet above the ground where you walk outside, so it's a good bit larger than what we're proposing. It would even be a few feet further if you measured from the walk outside down there. Even the greenery that was just continued earlier than us is going to be higher than we are. Their tallest ridge is 59.6 feet above the ground outside. That's 4 foot higher than our proposal. And yeah, there's a number of them at community college. I guess I do have an email with the full list, but the school administration is about 51.6 feet to the ridge, so that's on the same scale as what we'd be proposing, much smaller than the building we're sitting in.
Bus terminal.
The new apartment building near the bus terminal that you go by, that's about 47.6 foot to the highest peak. Again, Barnstable measures a lot of these 30 foot to the ridge, and then they've got a large roof up. We don't usually measure to the peak, so that was kind of a neat exercise to go and measure some of these. The Tilden Arts Center at the Cape Cod Community College, 72 feet off the ground if you measure from the rear of the building, 52 and a half from the front where you walk in. The high school, the east end, was about 52.2 foot.
Dan, could you please submit that for the record?
Sure. Yeah, I've got a number of copies.
Thank you.
And, so
Okay.
it's just basically...
Mr. Chair, I have to respond to that.
Sure.
One of the things that I'm going to say, because I was involved in it, we knew when we created the growth incentive zone downtown and proposed it to the town and to the town council, that the greatest single pressure that we would have would be height. Anyone that we talked to in the early stages said that no matter what you do, you will in fact have people wanting multiple story buildings.
The Planning Board voted to continue the public hearing at their meeting scheduled for the evening of April 27th.
And just a reminder, you can watch the Planning Board meetings at the town's website, town.barnstable.ma.us.
As far as the town calendar is concerned, a heavy Tuesday schedule wrapping up this evening with the Charter Commission in the Town Hall hearing room starting at 7.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kevin Friel.
We'll meet you right back here tomorrow. I'm Mark Mumford.